Hey class, good afternoon and welcome back to Introductory Psychology. Welcome to week 13. It feels really weird to say that because it just means we are drawing closer and closer to an end. The semester is flying by. Once we're already in November, it kind of feels like it really starts to roll downhill in terms of the speed of things. So at least from my perspective, so welcome back. Welcome back. And a quick reminder, if you haven't done so, response paper 7 is actually due on Sunday night. So I'm recording this on a Friday, but by the time you see it, it'll be Sunday. So it's due tonight if you're watching this on a Sunday. I think about maybe half the class has already turned one in, but obviously you have until Sunday. So try to get that in on time so you don't incur the late penalty for that. I'm really looking forward to reading your responses because I like this topic a lot, the topic of obesity and weight loss and how it relates to stress. And I love the fact that it's an example from our state and what our state has done to lose weight, to literally lose 1 million pounds. I thought that was really cool and very inspiring. So anyways, turn that in by Sunday evening if you haven't done so. Once you have completed that, you'll want to go ahead and begin reading our next chapter, chapter 12, which is crazy to say because we only have 14 chapters in this course and we're already at chapter 12. And chapter 12 is a really cool chapter. It's on psychological disorders. I imagine there are many of you, maybe some of you or many of you in this class, this is why you're interested in the subject of psychology. You want to study mental illness. Either you have dealt with mental illness in your life personally or knowing somebody, or it's just a topic you find interesting. Mental illness is one of those things that affects all of us, regardless if you have a mental illness yourself or whether you know somebody. I think the numbers are 1 in 4. 1 in 4 people in the United States will have dealt with a mental illness at some point in their lives. So, we all probably know somebody who has dealt with something like that, maybe depression or anxiety or maybe even more severe mental illnesses. We ourselves may have dealt with mental illness, it's not uncommon for college students to develop anxiety and depression or to experience those feelings and emotions during college, those big years of transition. So, I want to dispel the myth that it's an uncommon thing. It's very common. So I think that's important to understand. And the next next thing I want to say is please, 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 as you're reading through this chapter, please don't self-diagnose yourself. I know, you might be reading about depression or you might be reading about, bipolar disorder or this or that. And you might think to yourself, oh, wow, that kind of sounds familiar. That reminds me of my own experience. And that's fine, but that is not an excuse to diagnose yourself. For one, you're not a medical professional, so you can't do that. And two, that's just that you don't know enough. The introductory psychology textbook is not going to cover the topic enough that you're an expert after reading it. So my recommendation to you is if you read through the chapter and you kind of worry, hey, maybe this kind of reminds me of my own experiences, then reach out to a medical professional, whether that's your general practitioner or a psychiatrist or somebody you feel comfortable talking to. But please don't self-diagnose. Don't jump on WebMD after you read your textbook and go, oh, see here, I've got this, and that. You're just going to work yourself into a frenzy. So don't do that. But read chapter 12. It's an awesome chapter. During my undergraduate degree, I actually worked for a brief period of time as an intern at Griffin Memorial Hospital, the last remaining state-funded mental health facility in Oklahoma. So I had some firsthand experience working directly with people who are dealing with some of the most severe psychological disorders. So this is a topic that kind of hits home for me personally. I have members of my family who've dealt with mental illness. I myself have struggled with things like anxiety and depression at times as well. So I think this is one of those topics that is very fascinating, just kind of as its own. But then when we think about the personal connections, I think it becomes even more, interesting and more worth learning about. So this chapter, you're going to be able to define different disorders as well as their prevalence. You're going to kind of look at the 3 Ds in terms of classifying behavior as a disorder, a mental disorder. It needs to be deviant, it needs to cause distress, and it also needs to be dysfunctional, meaning it impairs life functioning. Otherwise, if it doesn't meet all 3 of those criteria, then it's probably not probably not considered a mental illness. We're going to look at the different classifications of disorders, including anxiety disorders, obsessive and compulsive and related disorders like PTSD. You're also going to look at PTSD and trauma and stressor-related disorders, dissociative disorders, mood and somatic disorders, schizophrenia, and personality disorders. So really what this chapter does is give you a nice overview of the different classifications of disorders, gives you some good examples. But there is an abnormal psychology class that covers this specific material in much greater detail that I believe OSU OKC offers. So if you are interested at all in wanting to go beyond this information, just know that there is, other courses and readings and things you can complete. So keep that in mind. Once you've read chapter 12, then you are ready to take our next exam, which is actually open as I speak. Exam number 3 covers chapters 9 through 12. It'll be open until Monday the 19th at 11:59 p.m. And as usual, it closes promptly at 11:59 p.m. So please, please, please make sure you give yourself enough time. Don't wait until the last minute, because if you're taking it at 11:30, you start at 11:30 and you're halfway through and it closes, you miss out on all those points, and that's not fun at all. So not fun for you and probably not fun for me. Exam 3 is open. It's 50 multiple choice questions. It's balanced between chapters 9 through 12. So you should have a pretty good idea of understanding all 4 chapters before you take the exam. Because there's an exam, don't worry about a response paper. Don't worry about a discussion post for this week. So you're good there. I want to also give you a heads up. Next week, technically, is our Thanksgiving break, so don't worry about class. I probably won't even record a video next week. I'll send an email out just reminding you and probably wishing you a happy break. But other than that, the week after, don't worry about it too much. So just a quick recap. Finish response paper 7 if you haven't done so. Read chapter 12 on psychological disorders. Again, don't self-diagnose. And then take exam 3 by the 19th. You have until the 19th at 11:59 p.m. to complete that. Let me know if you have any questions as you're studying, as you're preparing, any concerns you might have going into the exam. I'll be happy to, address. And no class the following week. I won't send out a video, but I'll probably send out a reminder email. So other than that, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. It's a cold one already. It's feeling chilly, but it also looks beautiful as far as fall weather goes. So get outside and bundle up, maybe enjoy the fall weather while it's still here. It's Oklahoma, so it'll probably be gone like in a week. So hope everyone has a great week, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care.